On a quiet morning in West Virginia, a coal mine exploded so violently that it killed over 350 men in seconds, making it the deadliest mining disaster in American history. But how did it happen? Was it a tragic accident, negligence, or something that could have been completely avoided? Today we're unpacking the Monongah mine disaster, the tragedy that shook a nation and changed mining forever. Monongah was a small coal town in northern West Virginia. Almost every man in town worked in one of the two huge mines, mine number 6 and mine number 8. The work was brutal, the pay barely enough, but it was all they had. December 6, 1907 started like any other day. Men packed their lunches, kissed their families goodbye, and headed into the mines. But none of them knew they'd never see daylight again. Mine number 8 was only 2 years old, the pride of the Fairmont Coal Company. Fully electrified with modern equipment, the company called it the safest, most advanced mine in West Virginia. But deep underground, the tunnels told a different story. Both mine number 6 and mine number 8 were connected by a maze of passages stretching miles beneath the surface. And every inch of those tunnels was filled with two invisible killers: methane gas and coal dust. Together, they formed a bomb waiting for a spark. The company knew the risks. Ventilation systems were supposed to clear the gas, but proper maintenance cost money, and in 1907, profit came before safety. By mid-morning on December 6th, both mines were running at full capacity. Hundreds of men were deep underground, fathers, sons, brothers, each performing the same routine they'd done 1,000 times before. None of them could have known that that routine was about to end in catastrophe. Then, at 10:28 a.m., the quiet valley of Monongah was ripped apart. The blast was so powerful it was heard 8 miles away. The ground shook, buildings rattled, and a towering cloud of smoke and coal dust erupted from the mine entrances. The explosion tore through mine number 8, then blasted through the connected tunnels of mine number 6, collapsing shafts and igniting pockets of gas as it went. The concrete roof of the engine house shattered. One fragment, weighing hundreds of pounds, landed 500 yards away across the river. For half a mile around, pieces of machinery, timbers, and tools rained down. A thick black dust settled over the valley, blanketing the river like a sheet of soot. Above ground, the town froze. Within minutes, it became clear something catastrophic had happened underground. 25 minutes later, the first volunteers tried to enter the mines, but the conditions were nearly impossible. Poisonous gases known as black damp filled the tunnels, and rescuers could only stay inside for 15 minutes at a time. The blast had destroyed the ventilation system in mine number 8 and disabled the fan in mine number 6. Wires were down, communication was non-existent, and confusion spread across the surface. But despite the danger, rescuers kept going. By noon, the first ventilation fans were restarted, giving them a brief chance to enter safely. Every step forward meant crawling through wreckage, dodging falling debris, and stepping over bodies as they searched for survivors. At 3 p.m., they found one. Peter Orban, alive but in shock, sitting on the body of his brother Stanley. He could give no coherent account of what had happened, and sadly died shortly after reaching the hospital. For the rest, survival was impossible. Hundreds were entombed 1,500 to 2,000 feet underground. By the next day, it was no longer a rescue mission, it was a recovery. But the chaos below ground was only part of the story. Above ground, Monongah itself was unraveling. In the hours after the explosion, confusion reigned. Reports were inaccurate, and rumors spread faster than fact. Crowds gathered at the mine entrances, wives, mothers, and children, each waiting for someone who would never return. Frantic women broke past the guards, screaming names into the darkness. Doctors rushed in from nearby towns, but their help wasn't needed. There were no injured, only the dead. The National Bank building became a makeshift morgue. Bodies arrived by the wagon load. Grieving women walked the aisles, clutching torn clothing, hoping for a glimpse of someone they loved. One woman who lost her husband, son, and brother tore at her own hair and face in anguish. Others collapsed as each new cart rolled in. As one reporter wrote, the cries outside the mines were enough to move the hardest heart to pity. Within a day, over 25,000 people had flooded into Monongah for support. Saloons closed out of respect, and nearby mines shut down. The entire valley had become one vast vigil. Yet the danger wasn't over. Poisonous gases still leaked from the tunnels, and experts warned that a second explosion could kill the crowds waiting above. Health officials, fearing disease, ordered immediate burials, sometimes before families could identify their dead. Newspapers printed wild stories, one claiming rats were even eating the bodies underground. A rumor quickly dismissed, noting that the blast had killed every living thing in the mine. Reality was grim enough without the exaggeration. The truth was some children were left entirely alone. 10-year-old Faustina Daria had 3 younger brothers. Their mother had already passed away when their father went into the mine that morning. He never came back. Overnight, Faustina was forced to leave school and bear the responsibility of providing for her brothers. The Sabic family suffered in a different way. 2 brothers worked in the Fairmont mines together. John stayed home that day to attend church, but his younger brother Michael went to work and never returned. John lived the rest of his life with the guilt of surviving when his brother did not. Stories like these echoed across Monongah, and the timing made it even more painful. It was early December. Christmas was just around the corner, but in Monongah, there wasn't much to celebrate. The season of joy had turned into a season of mourning. But the one question still lingered: how did this happen? Experts now believe it was the miners' open flame lamps that ignited pockets of methane gas and coal dust, setting off a chain reaction of explosions throughout the connecting tunnels. A single spark had unleashed catastrophic destruction. The company knew these dangers existed, but safety inspections and ventilation maintenance was expensive, and sadly, profit always comes first. It wasn't just an accident, it was a preventable tragedy born from cutting corners. The official death toll was 362 men and boys, some as young as 12 years old. But many in Monongah believed the true number was much higher. When the last body was recovered, the town had become a community of widows. Over 250 women lost their husbands, and nearly 1,000 children were left fatherless. The disaster forced a national reckoning. In 1910, the federal government created the United States Bureau of Mines, tasked with investigating accidents, improving safety, and ensuring something like Monongah would never happen again. Nearly 120 years later, Monongah still remembers those lost. Every morning at 10:20 a.m., the exact moment of the explosion, a memorial bell rings, a quiet, haunting reminder of that day. Monongah changed mining forever, but if you think this was shocking, wait until you hear about the disaster that literally drowned Boston in molasses. Click here for that story. It's one of the strangest you'll ever hear.